Welcome, everybody. We are so glad to have you join us today for this special YouTube Live on Integrative Therapy in Action. Why CHCP is the future of mental health training. At ICHARS, our focus has always been on bridging the gap between different schools of psychology and bringing evidence based practical approaches to the mental health community. Today's session will highlight how the cognitive hypnotic coaching and psychotherapy framework is transforming the way professionals are trained and how therapy is practiced. We are joined by an incredible speaker, Mr. Nitin Shah, CEO of iChars and a psychotherapist. Welcome, sir, to the live.
Thank you, Kiran, for hosting this live for us. And for those of you who are watching us live right now, or who will watch us later on, I hope you find this conversation insightful and useful.
So, sir, I'm going to start with a question that would be on the minds of those who are wanting to join the course and are at a deciding stage, wanting to know more about CHCP. What inspired you to create CHCP course, sir?
So, Kiran, in my own journey as a therapist, as a psychologist, have recognized that what I had learned in courses in masters was not enough to help client get the kind of results I really wanted them to get. Right? So this was a pain point that was experienced by me. And then when I spoke to people around me, while people had invested a lot of time in completing their masters, people had invested a lot of money in doing different certificate courses, yet there was always this feeling that maybe I don't know enough. I'm not sure what to do when the client sits in front of me. And this led to almost like a compulsion to attend one course after the other, where every course I see being promoted, I want to go and attend the course because I'm thinking maybe this is the answer. Maybe after this course, I'll be more confident. Maybe I'll know more tools and more techniques. So when I went through all of these courses, what I recognized was that while all of these courses were trying to explain the same thing, but they all come from multiple different points of view. So at times, doing all of these courses can leave you more confused because then you're not sure whether. So, for example, if I did hypnosis and I did CBT, and when I'm sitting in front of the client, I'm wondering, should I use CBT with this client? Should I use hypnosis with this client? This then became the next confusion that one, whatever courses I'm going through are not enough. When I felt that I've done enough number of courses, I did not know how to integrate them, and all those techniques, all those courses confused me even more.
Right.
So, in my practice, I was looking at something that can become like a cohesive framework where I don't have to worry about whether I want to use cognitive techniques or behavioral techniques or hypnotherapy based techniques, where I could select a technique based on what the requirement of the client is, right? And use those techniques with the client. So this became the starting point, which also meant that as someone who was starting afresh, I felt that the structure was missing in therapy frameworks. Right? At least the ones that I did. For example, my first course in therapeutic skills was a course in hypnosis. It was an incredible course, taught me a lot, but left me wanting more simply because I knew hypnosis can create incredible changes in people's life. But when the client came and sat in front of me, I did not know what questions to ask them. So I knew what to do in third and fourth session, but I did not know what to do in session one and session two. Right? And that's where this desire came that, all right, if there was something structured enough, so I would at least know in what each session what am I supposed to do. But then there was a follow-up problem that when it became structured, then clients don't follow your structure. So now you're wondering, all right, I want the structure, but I want it to be flexible so that it adapts to the client's needs. All of these pain points that I've told you, the culmination of how I started addressing these pain points in my practice is what now we call as cognitive hypnotic psychotherapy. And once we started teaching it, obviously I got more feedback from people that we were teaching. They were working with clients. So now I think we are at a place where I'm fairly confident that all of these challenges that we were facing earlier, those who are doing these courses with us, once they finish their even level two actually, I don't think they should be facing these problems. So that became the basis.
So what you are trying to say is that it's a structured course, yes, yet very flexible. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. So, so for
So,
somebody,
sorry, so let me just expand on this slightly. So it's structured from a point of view that as a practitioner, you know what your objective for each session is.
right?
With that objective, you also know what is the first technique, first process that you will use with the client. But it's flexible enough to an extent where every process that you start with can be modified, can incorporate other processes, or you may create a new process altogether as an extension of the initial process you began with, based on how the client is responding to that process.
So basically, we are flexible enough to handle the client who comes in their problems according to them, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay. So for somebody absolutely new, sir, what is cognitive hypnotic coaching and psychotherapy in very, very simple terms?
So let's break it down. So first, the cognitive hypnotic approach is where you are learning to align the client's conscious with the client's unconscious. Our understanding is that when a client comes to you seeking help, consciously they've already made a decision that they want to change. But something inside them is stopping them from changing. Something inside them that they are not able to control consciously right now, and therefore they're seeking help. So, which then means that consciously they want to change, but their unconscious, for whatever reason, is not creating the change that the conscious is selecting. So, we need to work with both the conscious and the unconscious, and this is what the cognitive hypnotic approach is. Okay. Now, coaching in psychotherapy is an extension of that. That many a times clients who come to you may not really require deep emotional interventions. They may not have a trauma necessarily that you need to address. So in that case, you need to be able to have tools that focus on present and future while still aligning the conscious and unconscious. So that becomes the coaching framework. And then in the psychotherapy framework, you also learn to work with intense negative emotions and disorders, especially where clients have certain trauma, suppressed emotions they've been struggling with for years. So that's the overall model of cognitive knowledge coaching in psychotherapy.
Right. So, sir, although I think you have answered this question that I'm going to ask, but in simple terms, I would still like to ask you. There are many people who have heard that hypnosis as a standalone tool. You know, they when they start searching, they uh, they try to look for hypnosis as a program. So, how does hypnosis in CHCP differ from what is taught in the generic hypnosis courses?
Okay, so to be fair, there are hypnosis courses and hypnosis courses. It's very difficult to actually compare CHCP with hypnosis because I don't know which hypnotherapy course you're talking about. There are people who teach hypnosis in a 3-hour course, and there are people who teach hypnosis in a 30-day course, and then there are institutes that have courses which will range from 6 months to 1 year.
So
So
that is
it's
where
very
the confusion comes, no, sir?
correct. So
Yeah.
that's the first level of confusion that there are just so many of them. Second, and there are two variants. So I don't know who do we compare us to. So let's compare CHCP with with a course which is as comprehensive as CHCP is. So a hypnotherapy course which ranges between 6 months to 1 year would probably, I wouldn't say as comprehensive, but would be the closest to what CHCP is offering. And yet there are differences. So what are the differences? In a standard hypnotherapy course, no matter how comprehensive the course is, it still comes across as hypnotherapy is a different field of therapy, right? So there is one course, one approach called hypnotherapy, and everything that you're learning in that course is hypnotherapy. Which then means that you're either using hypnotherapy, or if you decide to use a technique apart from what has been taught to you, then maybe it's not hypnosis. We don't look at hypnotherapy from that point of view. For us, or at least for me, the word hypnotherapy is slightly a misrepresentation.
Okay.
We call it hypnosis plus therapy. Now, on the face of it, it may look the same thing, right? Uh, Hypnotherapy, hypnosis plus therapy. What's the difference? Like I said, hypnotherapy comes across as an independent form of therapy. Hypnosis plus therapy is you can use hypnosis to connect with the client's unconscious and then apply almost any therapeutic modality that you have learned anywhere with hypnosis. So that's hypnosis plus therapy. Now, once we expanded the definition from hypnotherapy to cognitive knowledge psychotherapy, I had the flexibility to no longer restrict myself to standard hypnotherapy curriculum. I can now bring in CBT processes. I can bring in mindfulness based processes. I can bring in ACT based processes. So there are multiple tools and techniques that I can incorporate in CHCP. Why? Because CHCP is built on that premises hypnosis plus therapy. Plus, we are teaching people not just to depend on the techniques that we have taught them in the courses, but to actually learn to integrate techniques together. Which means tomorrow, if you end up attending a course where you learn some new technique, which has not been covered in CHCP, which is unlikely by the way. But let's assume for a moment that it happened. Even then, you will not struggle with whether I apply CHCP or whether I apply the new technique that I've learned. You will actually know how to incorporate that new technique into the hypnotherapy or the CHCP framework. So that is a big difference in standard hypnotherapy courses and what we offer. Plus is the focus. Standard hypnotherapy courses are offered to people who may not be looking at becoming practitioners. There are many people who are looking for self-help and they attend these courses. And then after they've done the courses, they realize, oh, I've got the certificate, I've paid so much money, so I can also become a therapist. In my personal opinion, um, there are very few people who turn out to be serious about focusing on what they've done in the courses. So then you end up having a lot of non-serious people becoming practitioners, and it leads to its own consequences. So for CHCP, we're very clear from day one, especially for the psychotherapy diploma, that you have to be from a psychology background. You must want to do this course because you want to become a practitioner. Yes, your life will change while you're doing the course. There's no doubt. But that for us is a byproduct. It's almost like a requirement that if I'm becoming a practitioner, then I should know that my techniques work. And what better way of finding out that my technique works than seeing a change in my life, right? But change in my life is a side advantage of me becoming a practitioner. It's not the other way around as it happens in many courses, where changes in my life is the main. अब certificate मिला है तो चलो practitioner भी बन जाते हैं. So we're very clear of creating the distinction. Plus the ongoing support that we offer. I don't think there is any course, whether hypnosis or otherwise, in the field of therapy, that offers the kind of ongoing support that we offer to all our practitioners, even those who have done courses with us 10 years back.
So I think that explains it very well, and people who have been having confusion on this would be very clear on this. Now that you were talking about integration, so CBT is one of the most popular evidence-based therapy. How does CHCP integrate CBT while still going beyond it?
So let's take an example. Let's say you're working with a client who wants to quit sweets, right? They come to you for a session. They are already consciously telling you that I want to quit sweets. They look at the sweet, something happens in them, and they end up picking up the sweet and eating it. This is their story. Now they want to be able to change this. What would standard CBT do? Right? The cognitive interventions generally in this case would be that when you look at the sweet, try and restructure your thought. So which then means that I look at the sweet, my first thought is this is my last one. And then I try to remind myself, maybe last time also I said this is my last one. So now what this is doing is many a times creating an internal conflict. While it's true that the conflict was there earlier also. I wanted to quit, but I was not able to quit. But now this conflict is becoming more apparent while the sweet is in front of me. The advantage of this is if the reminder that I said the same thing last time works, I will not eat sweets. But if it doesn't work, one, it will mean that I will eat sweet, and because of the internal conflict, the discomfort is so high that I may end up eating a couple of extra sweets. Right? Plus, what if I don't even know what my thought is? So here, so I know my thought was every time I think this is my last one.
Right.
Many times clients don't know. They will come and tell you that I look at the sweet, I don't know what happens, I pick up and I eat. So now I need some process to help the client become aware of the thought.
Absolutely.
So now what will we do with CHCP? So we will help the client define their problem, their outcome, their future, all of that is fine. Then once we reach this part of working with the sweet itself, the client says, I don't know what my thought is. I look at the sweet and I eat it. So now I tell the client, close your eyes, I'll guide them in hypnotic state and take them back to the last time when they had sweets in front of them. It's actually just before that. So right now they're in a space where the sweets are not in front of them. Then I tell them you notice yourself going to that place where the sweets are kept. You look at the sweet and create a pause. So before they pick up the sweet, before they experience the craving, they've looked at the sweet and now we have created a pause. Remember, this is hypnosis, imaginative state, all of this works. Now, in that pause, I can tell the client that in your imagination, you will notice a thought bubble opening up. And you will see what your thoughts are when you look at the sweets. Now, the client becomes aware of the thought. So, I've used hypnosis plus mindfulness to help the client become aware of the thought. Now, I can go ahead and do thought restructuring here itself. But when I'm doing the thought restructuring, I will not ask the client in the conscious state to go and try and restructure their thought. I will do the restructuring in the hypnotic state itself. So the next time when the client looks at the suite, their first thought itself drives them to move away from the suite. Rather than the first thought being, this is my last one, and then I go ahead and I try to explain to myself why this is not a good idea. Right? So now I've combined hypnosis with the cognitive therapy model. Now, as far as behavioral therapy is concerned, there will be certain experiments that I will do. There may be certain thought experiments. I can do all of those thought experiments in the hypnotic state itself and check which one works and which one doesn't work. I can now I may also want to create a negative association with a particular food item. In behavioral processes, um, for example, traditionally, when people have to create negative association with alcohol, they would give people small electric shocks with every sip of alcohol so
Yes.
that their body learns to create that shock effect every time they have an alcohol. I wouldn't recommend that. Now, I don't need to give them a shock. I can create an association of feeling disgusted with the sweet. In a hypnotic state, I can help them experience that, connect that, and condition that. So I've been able to combine both cognitive interventions and behavioral interventions, plus mindfulness in a hypnotic state. I can actually take it one step further. When the client is recalling that thought pattern, while recalling the thought, they all of a sudden see a glimpse of their childhood when they were young. Their parents would feed them sweets as a way of expressing love. And the client realizes generally I eat sweets when I'm alone, when I feel hungry. Now I can also take this step forward into helping the client explore the past experience, work with that experience, deal with whatever this loneliness is, and then come back to thought restructuring and conditioning. So it's just that CHCP gives me so much of flexibility because I'm no longer limited to only cognitive or behavioral or hypnosis work. I can combine so many other tools into the mix if required. And all of this is happening based on what experience the client is getting. If the client knew the thought, I wouldn't use mindfulness. I would directly jump to hypnosis plus thought restructuring plus anchoring. Because that image of the childhood flashed, I'm going into the past experience. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone into the past experience. So the process is so dynamic that based on the experience that the client has, I am able to modify that process to suit the requirements of the clients and address whatever layers come.
So I think this explains the flexibility the structure offers.
So it gives you the structure. In this sense, I know that in the first session, in this session, I wanted to begin with thought restructuring. But depending upon what is the client experiencing, if they are aware of the thought, a different process will follow. If they are not aware of the thought, a different process will follow. If a childhood memory flashes, a different process will follow. If it doesn't flash, then a different process will follow. So there is a lot of flexibility to adapt to what the client is experiencing.
Right. So, sir, could you walk us through how the CHCP course is structured, levels, modules, durations, etc.?
So overall, the CHCP program is divided in four levels. Level one and level two are the coaching diploma, where you're learning to work with present and future. But you're not learning to work with trauma, intense negative emotions, disorders. All of this becomes a part of level three and level four. For level one and level two, the only eligibility criteria is that you want to become a practitioner. You want to practice as a coach, right? Like I said earlier, there could be a lot of benefits that you'll experience in your personal life, but that's the criteria is that we will ask you a question over the call. Would you like to become a practitioner? Is this something that you're doing as a career skill or as a personal skill? It has to be a career skill. Then they can join for the coaching program. Now, we are also probably going to add an additional layer where you need to be an ICS certified coach or you need to have already done coaching certification earlier with some other institute before you're doing a course with us. Because to be fair, this is a fairly advanced course. Most people who are right now attending our programs are people who have probably got their ICS certification and then they're still struggling with working with clients. So they opt for the coaching diploma that we offer. And then subsequently for the level 3 and level 4, which is a psychotherapy diploma, the focus is that you need to be a practicing psychologist, a social worker, which means you must have done you must be pursuing or must have completed your master's in psychology or social work. You may be a doctor, MBBS, or you may be a registered practitioner under Ayush. All of these people are eligible for the psychotherapy diploma. Each level is divided in three parts. There's pre-recorded online modules, which is where we cover most of our theory. These are mandatory pre-study material that you need to complete before you come for the course. We check them, we verify them before you join the course, and if you have not completed them, you will be asked to join the next batch. The idea is to ensure that everyone is at a particular level before they start the live course. Then the live session is all about demonstrations and practice sessions. The idea is that during the live course, you should get enough exposure to live demonstrations and you should have done cases under supervision. You should have practiced the people under supervision to ensure that you have the confidence to be able to work with clients after the workshop. And then all the techniques that you have covered during the live session are made available to you in post-level online modules, which become like a ready reckoning. So in future, if you ever want to refer back to any of the techniques, you can refer back to it. Also, because our course keeps getting upgraded, we keep evaluating our courses, improving our courses. So any improvement that has been made in the course, in any level, that improvement is also included as a part of a post-level online module. So that becomes our work ensuring that all our students, no matter when they've done the course, stay up to date with the latest curriculum. Right? And this is a process that's followed for all four levels.
Uh, Again, I think you have covered what I'm going to ask in the next question, but still, I would like you to clarify what makes the teaching learning style in ICHARS different from the other training institutes.
See, again, the thing about comparing with other training institutes is I have not done courses with every possible training institute. So it will be unfair for me to make that comparison and say that we are better in with from all the other institutes in this respect. I can tell you what we do and how we have designed it, right? So there were certain things which were a prerequisite when we were designing the curriculum. One, the seriousness has to be maintained. So this is one place where sometimes people complain to us that when if you are attending a course, it's an online program, why can't we keep the video off? Is it okay if you are not available for 2 hours in a session? Maybe some emergency comes up. And we are very strict about that, that if you are in the course, you are in the course. If you are not able to attend for half an hour, 45 minutes, please join the next batch. If your videos cannot be on, please ensure that the videos are on and join in the next batch. And I understand it comes across as we are not showing any flexibility. for our participants. But you have to understand that these are practitioner programs. We are responsible not just for what we are teaching you, but what you will do with your clients. So we have to be extra careful about the seriousness with which all of this is being done. Right? So that's one bit. I have not come across any online program that focuses so much on attendance and quality and all of that. Second, it was meant we want people to practice in the course enough number of times that they feel confident by the time the level comes to them. So the live courses are all practice, practice, practice plus demonstration, right? Also, when we're talking about practicing, we don't really believe in the idea of role play because role play means I'm hypothetically doing a technique to see what result, how I practice it, right? But in hypotheticals, you don't know what the results will be. And if you're attending a course like this, there's obviously some outcome that you have that you want to achieve. So
Right.
we ensure that people practice the techniques for their own outcomes. So that by the time the course ends, they've really worked with one person or more person in the class who have their own challenges. People have worked with them and have helped them address their challenges. So by the end of the course, you know there are people that I worked with who have benefited from the processes I've used with them. There were processes applied with me. I have benefited from these processes, which means the processes work. And this becomes the biggest confident booster for you and for everyone else in the course. Right? So that's another one. Third, like I said, the post workshop support. Uh, while our courses are phenomenal, and yeah, even if I were very humble, I would still end up saying the exact same thing. That the courses that we offer are phenomenal. But I also understand that the courses are so comprehensive and vast that for me to expect you to remember everything after the course gets over is practically impossible. There will be places where you will need help. Not help in terms of uh, working with client, but help in terms of just someone to guide you, to mentor you that all right, this is the client that I'm working with, this is the process I've designed. Is this a good process to go along with? Maybe sometimes you work with a client which was new and you want to discuss the case with your mentors to figure out whether what I've done is right or not. So that is inbuilt in the program and we don't charge separately for it. So you will generally notice that courses are offered to people and then after the courses are over, they will be told, people will be told that you've done the courses now you're on your own. If you want any additional support, there are additional supervision charges. There are additional mentorship charges, right? We don't have any of that. In fact, we have a one full year mentorship where someone will personally work with you, will help you set up your own practice, will help you do a lot. And even that is free. So, that post workshop support, I can tell you, I haven't come across an institute that offers that kind of support to people. Plus the trainings.
So, even after the course, there is a lot of hand holding that you do with the participants, right?
During the course, after 10 years of the course if required.
And how do you ensure that the participant not only learns techniques but also gains confidence to apply those in real sessions? Although you have stated some of it that there's a mentorship program and there's a lot of handholding during, after the course, before the course, but actually, how do we ensure that they also gain confidence to apply them in real sessions?
So there are two parts to this, right? Some of our participants are already practicing psychologists. They have already been working with clients for years. So for them, confidence is not a problem. Once they do the courses, they can simply just go ahead and apply the techniques with their clients. But there are also a section of people who have just completed a master's, they've been in practice for 1 or 2 years, and now they're doing a course with us. Right? So for these people, we have a full-fledged mentorship program where they can join that 1 year mentorship. They are mentored on a weekly basis. There are practice partners that are assigned to them. So there is a lot. They not only learn. So while the course offers them skills to work with clients one to one, they also learn how to take additional things like webinars, like live sessions, create content, all those peripheral things that are required to help them set up their own private practice becomes a part of the mentorship session. They have a mentor assigned to them who works with them on a one-on-one basis, on an ongoing basis, weekly. So all of that ends up acting as a confidence booster for them. Plus, they also get assigned practice partners. Now, what I'm telling you is in addition to all the practices that they end up doing in the course. The course itself has, matlab, if you offer around 70% of the course is practice based, and it's a 1 year diploma. So there is a lot of practice sessions involved to ensure that people have confidence. And additionally, if they require support, then there is a mentorship program.
So, in spite of all this, there might be some cases. The new psychologists who have just completed their masters and just started their practice and having done the course with the ICHARS, they might get stuck with some case. They really don't know how to go about it because every case is a new case for them. What kind of support do you give to those people?
So those people who are looking for this free floating kind of a support and are not really looking at joining a mentorship program, every Friday we have a case discussion session with all our participants. It is open to everyone, no matter when you have done a course with us. The purpose of the case discussion is this: that you can come, you can share your cases, you can share what process you have thought of. I can help you understand whether that process works. If you have to make some modification in that process, what would that modification be? Right? And then finally, if you have any follow-up questions, then you can ask all of those questions during the case discussion. Also, at times when people are starting afresh, they may not have cases, but they join the case discussion because they get to learn a lot through this discussion about cases. So case discussion is one major component of our post-workshop support. Plus, people have access to me, to other trainers. They have our contact numbers. They can connect with us if required. We generally recommend to them that if you can wait till Friday, please wait till Friday because it makes support easier for us and for them also. But in emergency, they can always reach out to us over call. And to be fair, all our participants have also been considerate. They don't end up calling randomly only because they have a session. They generally do wait till Friday for a case discussion, right? But in one-off cases, it's okay. We are there.
Great. So this support is really great, sir. I think because for a new person who's starting off their practice, they would be getting stuck with the because each case is absolutely different. So
See, so as see, so while I'm incredibly proud of the course that we have created, but I think what we offer in terms of support, uh, it's very difficult to even match it. Whereas capacity is very different thing altogether. Even matching it is going to be very difficult for any other institute.
okay, and next, sir, what are some of the unique tools and techniques taught in CHCP that people usually don't get elsewhere?
So so rather than saying what are the unique techniques that you learn in CHP, I'll tell you something else. You learn to create your own techniques in CHP, right? So the moment you learn to create your own techniques, then if you're creating a technique for a client during a session, that technique is not available anywhere. So yes, there are starting frameworks, some that we have designed. For example, SOXY is a framework that we have designed. Transformational metaphor is a framework that we have designed. SVIT is a framework that we have designed. There are multiple, for example, when you work with anxiety, there's a complete protocol that we have designed that works quite well with clients. When you're working with PTSD, the same. When you're working with weight issues, the same. There are different frameworks or protocols that have been designed for all of this. But what your real learning is the ability to take these protocols and where they are not working with the client to modify them, customize them, and create new techniques if required. And that again, I don't really think I've come across a course that helps you learn that.
So, sir, after completing CHCP, what opportunities open up for practitioners, both in therapy and coaching?
So you can set some people prefer to do some internship or something for some time. They may want to do a job, which is one opening that every psychologist or coach, any which is has, depending upon where you're applying for a job. Um, Second, what our recommendation is a private practice. Now, I understand that private practice for someone who's starting afresh may be difficult, and therefore the mentorship session to handhold them to actually really guide them under supervision to be able to set up their own practice. Right? There are people who are into training who also incorporate many of these tools with their training programs. Um, if you are also looking at setting up your own influencer brand, right? There are a lot of tools and techniques and concepts in this courses that can be applied over there. So along with your therapy practice or coaching practice, that is an additional revenue stream that you can have. We are launching a wellness initiative for corporates, which is called Meet Goals Wellbeing. So all the therapists, coaches, which will be a part of that initiative, will be personally trained by us in the ICHARS, right? The trainers who are assigned to those corporates will also be trained by ICHARS. So there is this potential earning that you have while you're working through us and with us. But even if you're not working with us, the mentorship program gives you enough support to ensure that you're able to set up your own private practice.
Okay.
Kiran, just
So
give me
what's
one moment. Sorry, just give me one moment. All right, sorry. So Kiran, if you can go ahead.
okay? So what's one myth about hypnosis and therapy you'd like to burst today?
One myth is that there is an independent field of therapy called hypnotherapy. Okay? There is hypnosis plus therapy. If you think of hypnotherapy as an independent field of therapy, you are doing disservice both to the effectiveness of hypnosis and to what you can do with science and therapy. So this will be one myth that I would like to break. And second will be, so you asked me for one, I'm giving you two. Um, all of these certificate courses that are offered, okay, no matter what international affiliations they claim to have, I'm including ourselves, ICHARS in, okay. All of these affiliations are affiliations of private bodies. They have no legal value. Coaching is a non-regulated field. Even if you don't get trained in anything, and tomorrow morning you decide to call yourself a coach, there is no one who can stop you. Psychotherapy means you need to have completed your required education as per your country or your where you're located. Right? Just give me one second. Okay. Kiran, can you see me now?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So where was I? So all of these courses that claim to be certificate courses and they give you the legal rights to practice, they're all bluffing. The only way to legally practice as a psychologist in India is to complete your master's in psychology. Period. And if you've completed a master's in psychology, legally you can practice psychologist. You don't need any other certificate course. You need a certificate course to develop skills. So when you're attending courses, when you're selecting courses, please select the course based on the curriculum, the credibility of the institute, and the kind of support that they offer to you. Don't enroll for a course either based on pricing, how cheap it is, or based on what so-called certification they're offering. Okay? All those papers are piece of papers. No one actually cares about them. Your skills, yes.
Okay. So, sir, if viewers are therapists and coaches already, what's the first step they can take to experience CHCP's integrative approach?
Um, so there are a couple of options that you have. Um, if you really want to understand the entire approach in concept before you enroll for a course, then enroll for our eclectic internship. It's a 1.5 month internship where we take almost all concepts from eclectic psychotherapy, which is based in CHCP. and help you understand how the entire approach is created, what's the philosophy behind it, what's the theory behind it. You see some of the things in action during demonstrations and so on that are covered. You have a live Q&A with me every Friday again, so that you can also clarify any doubts, any questions that you may have that uh, during the material that you're going through during the internship. So that's one way. If you don't want to invest 45 days, 1.5 months in that internship, then join us for a webinar. There are different webinars that we are now launching, which will introduce people to the idea of cognitive knowledge psychotherapy. Why is it so different? Specific techniques from CHP will be demonstrated that you will practice. Some of them you will practice. So there's a lot that you will get to learn as a part of the webinar itself. And the webinar also gives you an entry into understanding the tip of the iceberg. So what you're learning in the webinar is actually not even the tip of the iceberg, to be fair, right? But it at least gives you that initial flavor, that initial taste of what you will learn in 1 year, 1.5 year diploma. If that's all what you're able to learn in 6 hours.
So the internship is paid or free?
All internships that we offer at ICHARS are free.
Thank you for clarifying that. And thank you everybody for joining us for today's session. It was great. A special thank you to Mr. Nitin Shah for sharing his valuable insights and experiences. We hope this session gives you a deeper understanding of how integrative approaches like CHCP are shaping the future of mental health trainers and practitioners. If you found today's session helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to our channel for more enriching conversations. Stay connected with us for upcoming sessions, and together let's build a stronger ecosystem for mental health. Till the
Thank
next.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kiran, for hosting us today. For those of you who are watching us live again, if you found this useful, please pick up the phone, call up the HR staff, ask your questions. Most of the questions they will be able to answer. If they are not able to, they will help you connect with me, and then I can get on a call with you to help you address any additional queries that you have. I look forward to seeing you in the upcoming workshops. Thank you. Bye bye. Good night. Take care.
Looking forward to joining your joining in the next lives. Thank you, everybody.